Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of the day it is that you're watching this episode, and welcome to the latest and greatest episode of the Tech Forward podcast. We've got a guest star with us here today. Some of you may recognize him from the Agent Ignite series on our website at techferrari.com. We've got Mr. Dwight Campbell with Pioneer Title, one of the business development reps over here, and a personal friend of going on, 5 years now, ever since I got into the real estate world. And today we're kind of diving into the world of wire transfer fraud. You know, one of those big things that everybody looks at and always has to say, WTF, man, what in the world is going on with this? So wire transfer fraud, as we all know, it's a massive issue that's plaguing our clients. Dwight, can you kind of fill us in? What exactly is wire transfer fraud, and what do we need to know about it right up front?
So wire transfer fraud is prevalent in the United States and elsewhere. Strictly in the United States, about 12.5 billion with a B in wire transfer losses, according to the FBI statistics. What it is basically a individual will go in and fraudulently, of course, try and zap funds from an individual's account or set up fake wiring instructions and present those to a potential buyer, contact the buyer, very sophisticated, sound like a title escrow rep.
Or a real estate agent.
Or a real estate agent, and give you the wiring instructions and the account number, and you wire your funds for the biggest purchase of your life. And what ends up happening is those funds go out of the country. And they filter quickly. The biggest issue is if you do experience wire transfer fraud, you catch it in time, within 24 hours is optimal. That's what you want to do. And you want to call the local authorities and obviously make a complaint.
Well, here's the big question, right? Wire transfer fraud, just like many other types of fraud, it's on the rise. Literally, the wire transfer fraud addendum here in Arizona makes that disclosure saying that it's on the rise, and it's ever increasing. As you saw with those numbers there, the numbers are going up year over year as people are seeing it as more of a lucrative income. You know, it's a very quick and easy way to make a couple $1,000s. But how would one go about coming to the realization that wire transfer fraud has been committed against them? Because if you don't know who you're sending your money to, how are you going to find out that you've had wire transfer fraud committed against you?
Well, generally speaking, your escrow officer in a legitimate transaction where you're actually purchasing a home is going to contact you and say, where are your funds? Jake, when did you send them? Let me look into that. They look into it, they find out that they were not sent or received by the appropriate parties, and that's when the investigation starts.
Yikes.
Yes, that is not a good time to realize it. So, you know, what we do on the title side is we want to ensure that your funds are, once you wire them, you're sending them to the correct place, destination, and the correct bank accounts. We send out an opening package when you open up a escrow with Pioneer Title, and then your trusted source is going to be that escrow officer. So you want a trusted phone number to reach us at our place of business and confirm with us, and not just take it from somebody who's sending you an email or a fraudster that picks up the phone, finds out who you are, where you live, and contacts you and says, hey, send it to these. The wiring instructions have changed. Send it to this location. That will never, ever happen. Our wiring instructions and account number never change. They will always be the same.
Is it the same for every single transaction that somebody does with Pioneer Title?
Correct.
Okay, so all that stuff stays the same.
Absolutely.
Now, here's the big thing. All these fraudsters and scammers out there, they're doing their darndest to make themselves look like a title rep or make themselves look like an escrow officer, real estate agent. I haven't heard of anybody trying to pretend to be a lender for the sake of wire transfer fraud yet. But, you know, how can I identify that I'm being hit with wire transfer fraud? Is there like an easy way for me to figure out what these emails are, or whether or not they're from a trusted source, or maybe something going on like I'm getting a phone call from somebody saying, hey, yes, I'm from such and such title company and I'm looking for you to send the funds over to this place? Like, how can I prove that they're actually from a title company?
Well, great question. And the fraudsters are, as I said before, are really good at what they do.
It's an art. It is an art.
Very smooth. They want your money, so they're going to be as smooth as possible. One of the things that you can look for in an email is, number one, look really hard at where that email is coming from. I'll give you a great example, and this is probably, it's a humorous one because it happened to me. So my wife sends me a text, and it's from Lowe's, and they're offering 25% off on their power tools. Well, I think, gosh, it's coming from a trusted source. Let me click on that. So I did. The beauty of an iPhone is this wasn't Lowe's. It was LOW.ES.com. So it wasn't coming from Lowe's. I should have looked at that text, but I had it coming from my wife, a trusted source, right? So
who also thought it was coming from a trusted source.
Absolutely. And she just sent it to me. She didn't say, hey, look, this looks suspicious. So what I would encourage any buyer and or seller, depending on the circumstances, is to look at those emails really closely. Make sure it is coming from a trusted source. We encrypt our emails as well. So when you receive that email, there are passwords and exercises you have to go through to be able to open those up. If you have a difficult time with those, contact our office and we will walk you through the process of opening those emails up. But look at those emails for spelling errors, for addresses that just don't look right. Kathy with a IE versus a Y, or a Kathy, CATHY, period, and last name. Those are dead giveaways to what you're reading may not be true, may not be accurate. And if you suspect that there's wire transfer fraud or you're getting an email from an untrusted source, pick up the phone, call our office, and talk to somebody. We will walk you through it. We will make sure that the funds you're sending for that purchase are that they're going to escrow and they're not going to an untrusted source.
So should I be calling the phone number that's at the bottom of the fake email that I've got, or should I be going directly to the title company's website to find that phone number?
You know what? Great comment. www.pioneertitleagency.com. That is the best way you can look up your trusted source. You can look up our branches. You can look up an individual's name, and it will bring a trusted phone number as well as address. Again, www.pioneertitleagency.com.
Simple enough. All right.
Yep.
So, in other words, don't call up the number that's at the bottom of the fraudster's email, because chances are that's going to be a phone number going directly to the fraudster, who is only going to re-verify those instructions.
And chances are that phone number may be very similar to our phone number, but be 1 or 2 digits off. So you really want to pay careful attention to that. And again, look at your opening package that you received from the title company, and then compare it to the email. If there's any discrepancies at all, get on the phone and call us.
Well, what if the fraudster is the one that sent me the opening package? Haven't quite thought about that yet.
Chances are that's not going to happen, because you're going to get an encrypted message from us, which you're going to have to walk through and get into.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, that's something I've not seen any fraudsters doing just yet. So hopefully they don't think about that or watch this episode and get any ideas. Oh, man. Or the other thing that'd be really interesting is if the real estate agent, any of you who are watching, or myself included, mistypes your escrow officer's email address and it winds up going directly to the fraudster. So here's another question based off of these emails that are going around from the fraudsters that are committing this stuff. How in the world are they getting them to look so stinking close to the emails that actually come from title company employees? Like, do you think, I'm not saying this as something that I think is actually going on within a title company, but do you think maybe somewhere out there there's somebody that has managed to become a mole somewhere along the line and leak out the templates for emails, or what in the world is going on?
Well, and you know what, you bring up a really good point, because you can easily go in and Google anything, right? In this world, you can Google anything. You can get an escrow statement, but what the fraudsters are doing is, for example, on a Gmail account for me, or an AOL account, or whatever other accounts are out there, if you don't have the safeguards on those accounts, then you have fraudsters that can access your email, and that's where they're getting a lot of the information from. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
That
we don't have the
sense.
safeguards that Pioneer Title Agency puts together to try and combat this. Do you encrypt your personal email? And I'm not asking you, but I'm just for food for thought. That's one thing that I do not do when I send out an email. Although I don't use my personal email for business, but my business email obviously goes through a lot of protocols. And oftentimes my email, because I do generate a lot of emails, will be picked up by a Gmail account or whatever the case may be, and will be blocked. So one of the things you want to do is make sure that you've got the safety net on your personal email that perhaps you're not getting by just a basic Gmail account.
No, absolutely. And actually, I will throw something out there real quick, a little tech tip for you guys. If you're looking for a good, secure mailing system that you can do your emails through, there's actually a platform that's based in Switzerland, of all places, called Proton Mail. The whole Proton system with their password manager and everything else they've got is one of the most secure encrypted platforms that you can use. Doesn't cost you anything to use it, but if you want a good secure email, that's the place to go. So I guess kind of finalizing that, what I'm trying to say is how do they make it sound so much like the escrow officer or somebody from the title company? Like, do you think maybe at some point they've actually looked at emails that have come from these people? Or, like, surely, yes, you can find the stuff on Google, but there's something a lot more in-depth going on. And I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody. I'm just wondering, how in the world does this happen in today's digital age?
Well, when you're responding, one of the things that I keep in my mind is date of birth, social security number, address, my name. I don't send those all in one email. If I can pick up the phone and call somebody and provide that information that I know is a trusted source, I'm going to do that. Oftentimes, when the spammers are out there looking at the emails, they'll get an email or a semblance of an email and the bits and pieces of it that they can put a transaction together. They become so sophisticated that when a estimated settlement statement is sent to your email for you to review, and obviously that goes to agents as well on the buyer and seller side, if that's intercepted, they act very quickly on that. They have a number at the bottom that says cash to close. And that's where they will look at that particular document, and then they'll send their fraudulent email out already. They've already put this email together. They're already anticipating your closing date. So they're watching 3 to 4 days before, sometimes 2 days before. And that's when they're reaching out and looking at emails that are sent out that are not encrypted, which is coming from title to the Gmail or AOL account, whatever the case may be.
Sure, yeah.
And they're grabbing that information, and that's when they will be really smooth, and they'll pick up the phone and say, "This is John Smith from Pioneer Title Agency, just wanted to let you know." And they will use actual names. Dwight Campbell from Pioneer Title Agency, just wanted to make sure you got my email. And by the way, the wiring instructions are there. They don't give any indication that the wiring instructions have changed, but they will pretend they're me, and they do a very good job of that.
And if somebody has no idea what you sound like, it's all that much easier. Somebody could call up somebody else with a female's voice and say, "Hi, yes, this is Dwight Campbell with Pioneer Title Agency," and that may fly if somebody has no idea what you sound like.
That may fly.
Yes, which I don't know. If you think Dwight sounds like a female, you might want to adjust your microphone, or not your microphone, your speakers, so you guys are hearing this clearly.
That's right.
But anyways, kind of going off of that, I was just kind of curious. Now, what do we need to do? I understand like contacting the title company, like if we have an issue with wire transfer fraud, but what authorities are we supposed to go to whenever we have wire transfer fraud that's in the act of being committed?
So I would always recommend you go to your local authority first. If your local authority recommends you go to the FBI, and even if they don't, I would go to the FBI and make a complaint as well. Most of the wire transfer fraud complaints go to the FBI. So the local authorities, the Phoenix Police Department, Sheriff's Department, whoever you contact who's facilitating law enforcement in your area, it will elevate to the FBI and they'll get you involved very quickly. And again, speed is the utmost importance. 24 hours, you have a very good success rate of being able to get that wire back if that's what you've done, or most of it.
Yeah. Because that's the name of the game for these people, is they're trying to get this cash and they're trying to get it offshore as quickly as possible. Because once that money is out of the United States, it's gone. There's virtually nothing that the government can do to get that money back. And it's probably going to somebody's Swiss bank account or something like that, somewhere where the money can't be questioned or really even touched. So you've really got to keep a good eye on that. I was also going to ask you, have you ever had like any experiences or any stories that you can share from wire transfer fraud being committed? Not necessarily something happening to you, but do you have any stories of wire transfer fraud?
On the wire transfer fraud side of the business, deed fraud, I have many stories. On the wire transfer fraud, I'm a little bit removed on the wire transfer fraud. What I can share with you is that we do send out information in our opening packages for wire transfer fraud. We are always looking for the fraudsters as well. On the deed fraud side of it, like I said before, I've got many stories that I can share with you in this episode coming up. But on the wire transfer fraud, not so many. I'm kind of removed from that as a business development rep.
Okay. So last question I've got for you, kind of surrounding wire transfer fraud in particular, is what does it look like from the title company side? Like, what is your response? If I tell you I think there's wire transfer fraud being committed, what are the steps that the title company is going to take to try and protect my client?
Well, number one, we're gonna contact them as quickly as possible. We're gonna contact their agent as well, let them know that there's potential wire transfer fraud. Again, we didn't send the money, so we can't initiate a complaint, but we can certainly work with the customer and try and determine what has transpired, and obviously check with our wire department to make sure that it did not come to us and it went to another party, and confirm that with them.
Okay.
Yep.
So with that, as we bring this episode to a close, do you have anything else that you want to share surrounding wire transfer fraud? Anything else that you feel we should know?
Beware, be skeptical, and make that phone call to the office that you feel comfortable with. Go to our website, www.pioneertitleagency.com, and make sure that you're not utilizing a suspected individual's account email and trusting that what they're sending to you is accurate. Always verify by calling our office. We will answer the phone. You will not go to voicemail, and we will verify wiring instructions and the account over the phone before you wire those funds. So make sure that you call our office first, and we'll take care of it.
Amazing.
Yep.
All right, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this episode of the Tech 4 podcast, and we'll see you in another one very soon. Thanks, Dwight.
Thanks, Jake.